welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to swatch some happy mail I had gotten. I had received the Derwent Graphitint from my lovely friend Ryan. He knew I was dying to get these and I've always wanted these. They are an amazing pencil and I'm going to show you why. So I had swatched these kind of like in my own swatch book, but then I was like, you know, I should probably swatch these on camera because a lot of people have been asking me what's the deal, or like, you know, why is Graphitint so cool? So it's like, let me show you. And so yeah, they come in 24 count, but what these are, let me open it for you. They are graphite pencils. So that is what makes these unique. They're water soluble, which is why they have the water symbol there, but it is a tinted graphite. So you can use these dry. And in fact, I have seen artists make amazing things with these dry. Like you can just sketch out a whole picture as opposed to, you know, using like a graphite pencil and then filling it in with colored pencil. You have tinted graphite ready to go. That said, once you activate them with water, the color just like pops even more. These are like the coolest thing I've ever seen. Like I know I'm easily amused, but these things I was just like, oh my gosh, yeah. Ooh. So I was so happy when Ryan had sent me these. And then I was like, you know, I got to show everyone on camera. And since I was going to re-swatch them anyway, I was like, I might as well do this on camera with you guys and show you. So here is the pencil itself. This is the traditional like size of a Derwent pencil. I had swatched the watercolor ones not too long ago and they're a lot thinner, but most Derwents are like this chunky monkey style pencil. I love it. I love how fat their pencils are. They feel nice in the hand. Has the signature color dipped end. They always have the little stripe and a color. And then of course, you know, name and number. It'll always say England or Britain, just depends on when it was made, oops, and what line it is. And then Derwent Graphitint. Now this just means it's water soluble. This does not mean it's a watercolor pencil. And the reason I always emphasize this is because this is on their watercolor pencils and Inktints and Graphitint. And Graphitint are not watercolor pencils. So it's really important to know the difference between a water soluble medium and a watercolor pencil. Two different things. Just two different things. So, yeah, let's get a swatching. Now, they do come in kind of a random order in the tin, but whatever. They're cool pencils, so Derwent can get away with it. So how I'm going to swatch this for you guys, I've left them in numerical order or the order they come in. I may end up redoing my swatches again later. I swear, it's like I've got a swatch fetish. I don't know. I'm trying to find a swatch system that works for me. That is the problem that I'm suffering. But I'm going to swatch these twice. Once with just the graphite, and then the second with it activated. So you can see, because these can be used dry, unlike watercolor pencils and even Inktints. Inktints are not meant to be dry. They're meant to be, you know, activated. These, however, can be used dry. So I want to show both. So let's just, well, let's roll with it. So here is port, and this is dry. Now, here's the thing you'll notice, because this is a tinted graphite, okay? You are going to get, like, you'll see the graphite in there sometimes. So you'll see like some grayish, blackish streaks. You can even sharpen it out. I'll show you guys how it sharpens. So they sharpen really well. Okay, and then I'm going to have another one down here. And this will be what we activate with water. But again, you will see the graphite through it, whether you sharpen it or not. I forget who it was. I had seen someone else swatching them, and they thought they had a bad batch. That this is a tinted graphite, so you're going to get the graphite showing through no matter what. But the thing is like if you're using these dry and you're sketching with them, you'll see a total difference, you know, versus just doing a big old blob here. But yeah, I do want a dry version because they're still very pretty dry, but it's when you activate these things, it's like, oh my gosh. And if I was crazy enough, which I might be when I redo all my swatches, I would have a spot for like my colorless blender. Ooh, both alcohol-based and water-based. Do you see how crazy this could get? Or how crazy I am getting to with my swatches? I'm currently working on kind of creating a whole new swatch system for myself. And I know a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, swatching. But I actually find swatching therapeutic. Let me know in the comments below if I'm the only one. If I'm alone in the corner, swatching in peace. But I actually find swatching very therapeutic. Now, swatching 520 brute fooners on a live stream was not therapeutic. Yeah, that was just insanity. Now, had I swatched those like privately, you know, I would have been taking breaks and hydrating, eating, keeping my blood sugar up, a whole mess of things. But I did that for you guys. Never will I do it again. It was fun. It was quite fun. I'm not gonna lie. That is the only stream where I have actually had to take a snack and restroom break. It was a good time. It's like, okay, everyone, 10-minute break. Okay, slate green. But it was also almost 4 hours. But yeah, I had to get like a snack. And by the end of it, those of you who watched it, you probably remember, I like started filling in the boxes all neat. And by the end, I was like, whatever. If there's some color in the box, we've accomplished our goal. I went to go re-swatch those, and I was like, yeah, I'm good. Swatching is therapeutic, but I'm just not ready to dive into those ones again. So you see the color, how it's just a very subtle tinted graphite. In fact, let me zoom you guys in a little. I want to make sure you're seeing the color. I hope the color is okay. In fact, let me adjust my thing here. Hopefully the color is coming through. Wait a minute. I have an ivy. What happened to meadow? Oh, I got out of order. There we go. Okay. I was like, wait a minute. I hope I didn't just put the wrong pencil down. Problem is when I'm zoomed in this much, I need to actually make sure I'm on camera. So I don't know if you guys can see like the graphite coming through, but that is normal and totally okay. I'm just doing a light pressure, pretty much holding the pencil on its side here because I just want to put a light amount down to activate. But yeah, like if you were to use these in a drawing, the graphite wouldn't be as noticeable as it is right now where I'm just straight up layering it on a page. Okay, chestnut. I had my windows open because it's a gorgeous morning, fall morning. But the neighbor's dog started barking. So I was like, you guys probably don't want to hear that. Their dog like never barks though. It's either jets or a dog barking, I guess, is now my options for background noise for you guys. Of course, I just jinxed myself now, and I'm probably going to get the jets coming through. Okay, cool brown. Just make sure I'm in order still. But isn't this cool? Like tinted graphite. I know, like, I'm just like, isn't this the coolest thing ever? But it is. It's not a colored pencil. This is graphite that is tinted. and water soluble. Like, this is magic. Maybe that's why I'm like so, just amazed by these, is just the fact that not only is it tinted graphite, it's water soluble. It's cool. Although, fun fact, there are a lot of water soluble graphite pencils. That isn't anything new, but the tinted part is what makes it cool. And I haven't even looked, to be honest, if there's other brands out there with tinted water-soluble graphite. There probably is. But I always wanted the Derwent Graphitint. I'm trying to think. It was another YouTuber. I had seen them use them before. Because I had seen them on like Amazon and Blick and all that, but I had like zero interest in buying them because I was like, oh, tinted graphite, whatever. And then I saw another YouTuber use them. And then that was when I realized what these things could do. And then I was just like, holy moly, I have to own those. And yeah, I hadn't bought them yet. And the lovely Ryan knew I really wanted them. And so I was having a bad week. And that sweet man sent me a set just to cheer me up. That's why he's my YouTube husband. Mountain Gray. But yeah, I had swatched these once I got them because I was so excited. And then I decided I needed to re-swatch them anyway, because when I had initially swatched them, I just did half activated and half dry. But I was like, I want 2 full out swatches with them. So it's like, this is perfect opportunity to do it on camera to show you guys what these do. And I definitely plan to color with these on a page because these are, like I said, they're magic. It's like witchcraft. It's a graphite pencil, but it's like, you'll see. You'll see when I activate it. It's just like, what on earth is going on? It's the coolest thing in the world. Yep, I'm just putting down a light layer. Now the white is going to be rather lackluster for you, but here is a fun fact about the Graphitint, okay? All right, so 24 colors. Now, kind of like what I did with my Derwent watercolors not so long ago. I put them on my Caran d'Ache palette thingy here on the rough side. You can do that with the Graphitints and mix them together and use them like watercolor. You really can. You can mix these and create more colors. Just because it's graphite doesn't mean you can't make a color out of it. All right, so here's the port, right? So it's okay looking right now, but look at that. Oh my gosh. Tell me that isn't the coolest thing ever. I mean, look at the color. It just... Make sure I'm on screen. Look at how beautiful it is. And it will be a muted color. I mean, this is tinted graphite, not watercolor. But look how it just pops. And how smooth and how well it dissolves. That's the big thing. I mean, there's watercolor pencils that don't even dissolve like this. But look at the color. That's why I say they're like little magic things here. But see just how bright and beautiful the color becomes once it's activated with water. I mean, it's still pretty dry, but that's what's cool. You can use these dry. I was watching an artist, and they sketch out this entire landscape, right? Using just these pencils. Look at this blue. I mean, look at how crazy vibrant that is. So, you know, I have a little more water on my brush when I initially did these ones. It was a little drier down here. Just to give me an idea, like the drier the brush, the more vibrant the color. But yeah, so I watched this artist do a landscape in nothing but Graphitints. Sketched it all out and then took out a water brush and only activated certain parts. Like it was part of the water that was activated and like the bulk of the tree. Look at this color, how it activates. I mean, look at that. That is insane. So yeah, and just activated the parts that needed it, kind of like a filler, right? But it was like magic on paper. It was just amazing. I was like, oh my gosh. All right, here is Sage. This one too is really pretty once it's activated. But see what I mean? It's just a totally different color. I mean, it's the same color, but you know what I mean? It's just, it really pops once it hits that water. And again, the drier your brush, the better. In fact, maybe I'll even activate one of these with a colorless blender because I haven't yet. Oh, let's see if I have one nearby. I'll just activate half of it. So let's take Russet. I'm just using an Artify one. Because I'm just curious how these dissolve with it. Now I gotta clean that off. Because now with ink tints, it does really good. But see, these look better with water. See, so the alcohol kind of washed out the color, whereas with water it didn't. That said, I wonder if I take a Tombow, which is water-based, colorless blender, how that would look. That might look better because with the water, the color is way better. All right, there's definitely a cool brown. Let's do some cocoa. But yeah, these are just so cool. This color, Autumn Brown, is one of my favorite in the set. It is so rich. It's like a beautiful rust. Look at that thing when it activates. Absolutely gorgeous. I don't know why it took me so long to even get on the train with these. But like I said, once I saw another YouTuber using them, I was like, oh my gosh, that's what they do. Holy moly, why didn't I buy these? And then I looked at the price and I was like, never mind, I will wait. It's kind of like Derwent's drawing pencils. You're like, oh, those are so cool. And then you look up the price. You're like, yeah, never mind. I'll tackle those one day. Oh, that one's pretty too. The grays are lovely. I love that there's tons of grays. And I know you're probably thinking, well, graphite is kind of gray on its own. Why all the grays? You know, I mean, this is a water soluble tinted graphite. The white is going to do nothing for you guys. But I mean, that's kind of the point. Let me zoom you back out. So yeah, I mean, you do have a lot of grays. The Storm is kind of reminds me of, oh, I can't think of the name of it, but yeah, it's more like a purplish gray, blue grayish, but cool gray, cloud gray, mountain gray. So you do have a ton of grays, but they can be mixed as well. So let me set this over here and we can play a little bit. This is just cardstock, not watercolor paper. So just keep that in mind. But like, one thing you have to keep in mind though is colors here. So I'm gonna grab that shadow. So no, I want ocean blue because I want to make my ocean blue darker. One thing you need to keep in mind with these Graphitints is they are still graphite. And then I want my cloud gray. No, actually, let's add black to it. But you can put them on the palette and blend them together and then put them down on the page, but they aren't going to behave exactly like a watercolor. So you do want to keep that in mind. Let's get a little of that black into my blue. Now remember, this is the ocean blue. Pick up a little more black. There we go. Now check it out. Okay, so that's ocean blue mixed with midnight black. Here's just pure ocean blue. So these can be mixed. You don't have a yellow though, and you don't have like a traditional red. So like primary color wise is what I mean. You're kind of, you don't have that. We could take port though and mix it. And let's see what we can get with some port. Yeah. Let's just try it. See if we can get port a little darker. So let's see how port looks with black. But yeah, as you can see, you can still make stuff. But you want to use the rough side of this palette because that's what really helps get the graphite, or any pencil for that matter, off of there. Okay, so I'm going to activate my black. Just add it to my port. And then of course you could take these colors and put them on here first before putting them on paper, period. Like say you want to treat them like watercolors, you could totally do that. See, that darkened it up, but we need more black. Let's see if I can get more without grabbing that blue. So yeah, I darkened it up a bit, but not a ton, but it's still pretty. I like how the ocean blue came out though. But I mean, you can play around with these, you can mix them. Oh, my water brush is out of water. That would explain why it was getting so dry. But yeah, these can still be used on a palette instead of going on the paper first. So if you wanted to put them all down and then activate them. And the cool thing is they have that ability to be treated like a watercolor if you want. If you don't want to worry about lines or activating them on paper, or you want more control with your brush, or you want to mix them like I did here and make a darker color, you can do that. So they're a lot more versatile than you would think. That said, let me see if I have enough water in my brush to demonstrate. Okay, so let's take, I'm trying to find one where I activated it all the way, because you can see somewhere I left some lines, but take Meadow. See, once it dries, it's there. So you want to keep that in mind. These aren't like watercolor pencils. They're not going to reactivate. I have seen people get enough water onto them and move them, but I think that's more just graphite that wasn't activated before, or perhaps it was the paper. Now, if this is just a Nina 80-pound cardstock, I think. No, 110-pound cardstock. It's the one I always use, and it's always linked below in my shop. But I decided to swatch on that because I plan to use the Graphitints a lot in my coloring books, and this is pretty comparable to a lot of my favorite books, so I like to see how it looks on that paper. Watercolor paper, maybe you can get it to lift off of that. So that is one thing, but I've noticed when I was playing around with them the other day, they don't reactivate. But I have seen people lift them, so maybe they're lifting them on watercolor paper, or they're just grabbing, because like see here on Meadow, I have that line that I didn't activate. That will lift and move. But if I had a clean brush and I pull from down here, you can see me getting it wet and it's not moving. So I don't know. That's something I'll play around with, and when I do an official review on them, I'll, have an answer for you. This, by the way, keep that in mind. Anytime I do a first impressions, that's literally all it is first impressions. I am not reviewing them yet. I am straight up telling you what I just initially notice. And then the review is where I kind of go through and research it and whatnot. One thing I will say though is the white Graphitint pencil is like the creamiest little bugger I have ever seen. I mean, it is so soft. Soft considering it's a graphite pencil. I should preface with that. If you're like thinking Prisma soft, then never mind. But because this is a, water tinted or water soluble tinted graphite, wow, that's a mouthful. I was surprised at how soft it was the first time I had swatched it. I was like, oh, this thing is kind of soft. But yeah, so this is the Graphitint. This is what makes them so cool. It's graphite, but once you activate it, all that like gray graphite you see in the, let me see if it will zoom in. So see the gray coming through, that's the graphite. That goes away when you activate it, so you don't get that in there. It does melt into the color though, keep that in mind, but it doesn't affect it much. And just some of these like pop off the page when they're wet. I mean, my favorite is ocean blue. And then of course you can combine it and make a different color. I mean, here's standard, here's with black. So these are still mixable. And then of course, like I said, zoom back out, you can always mix them on a palette and treat them like a watercolor. There's no rules here. It's fun about art supplies. Like, play around with them, explore. Don't just use them one way. So, but yeah, for those who have been curious, that is what the Derwent Graphitint are. I think there's a metallic set too. Don't quote me on that. I get those confused with the drawing pencils sometimes, but yeah, either way, these are like the coolest things I've ever seen invented. Derwent comes up with some really awesome products. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, these are so fun. But I definitely do not like them with the alcohol blender. I need to get some more Tombows and see how they look with that. But yeah, I will review these eventually. Anytime you see a first impressions, there will be a review one day, soon, someday. It's just a matter of time, and I like to really thoroughly use a product before I review it. I don't like to get something and then just review it without coloring with it, playing around with it and all that. And then as of lately, I also like to do portraits and a normal coloring page to kind of like really get a grasp on something before. And then I take my time researching it. I reach out to the manufacturers, the distributors, you know, so sometimes I reach out to Blick if I get it from Blick and I ask them questions. So I do a lot of background stuff that does take time because I do have a full-time job. So I'm a little slower. That's why you'll see a first impressions and then like 6 months later sometimes be like, oh, there's the review. So always keep that in mind. But a special thank you to my friend Ryan for sending these to me. They are gorgeous. I have been playing with them and having a blast, and I wanted to re-swatch them on camera with you guys so that you could see what the Graphitint were, because truly, like I said, when I first saw these, I was like, I don't get it. And then I finally saw them in action and was like, oh my gosh, it's magic. So I wanted to share the magic with you guys. If you have the Graphitint, let me know what you do with them. Do you use them in coloring books? Do you use them in your art? I'd love to know. I'd love to see pictures too. Tag me on Instagram, because these things, like I said, I've seen someone draw a landscape with them and just activate small parts, and it was just like, wow. I mean, even the cover of the case actually kind of gives you an idea too. You know, example, you could sketch out an entire scene and then just activate like, you know, certain areas to get that pop, and then you can go back over it as well with another tinted color or that same color, which I forgot to bring up. So like same meadow here. Say I wanted to go over meadow with ivy and like add some details. Like say I made a big old landscape with meadow, you know, just creating like a landscape. Now I can go in with ivy and add some darker grasses. So stuff like that, you can go on top of them. And because they're graphite, you know, they act just like a pencil. But that's what I mean. The versatility of these things is nuts. So, and they can be used in art, you know, adult coloring, all that stuff. You could take these with you on the go and like just fill a sketchbook. I mean, and like I said, you can mix them. So there's so much potential to this one little pack of 24 pencils that now I know why Derwent charges so much. It's magic. But yeah, thank you guys again for watching me swatch these. Thank you to Ryan for sending them. And I hope to use these on camera here soon with you guys. They'll definitely be used for, you know, the month of D, but I'm going to try and use them before then. But until next time, take care.